Here we go. Hi, greetings everybody. We are recording, we are live. Greetings, this is Wesley Pepper speaking. This is the Art Lexcia podcast. Welcome. This is episode 155. And before I get to my guest and the technical thingy we have, yo guys, don't remember the APVA Awards is coming up in next month sometime. I think it's around mid next month. So much love to everyone who voted for me. I really appreciate it. And not remember, but on the 4th of September, I'm taking part in something called Behind the Mic. It's in conjunction with the APVA, so I think it's on Twitter, but don't quote me on that. And I will be talking about that, or on my social media channels close to the time. I think that should be next week or the week after that. So looking forward to that, and much love to the APVA for recognizing the skills and the hard work that's put into this podcast. Okay, so today we actually got a very cool guest. Unfortunately, there's no video, but that's fine. We're talking about the 2024 Arts and Culture Trust Symposium, which will be taking place on the 12th of September. And I'm talking to the CEO of the Arts and Culture Trust, Jessica Denyschen. As you can't see her now, but I know she's there. So Jessica, first and foremost, man, good morning and welcome.
Thanks so much, Wesley. Thanks for having, and apologies, for the, Mercury's only out of retrograde on the 28th, so I'm putting the video down to that.
I've been doing this podcast gig for some time now, and I can tell you, like, basically every week there's a technical issue. And most of the stuff is I just can't do anything about it. I can just make sure I'm on time, my equipment is working, and the sound as long as the sound is fine. Yeah, I think if we're going to talk about those technical things, we'll never get into the crux of today's matter.
Sure.
So with that said, let's get started, man. Jessica, this is a very cool thing. And much love to Bazai for linking me up here. This is super cool. So lots of stuff here, which is actually up my alley as well. Things that I'm personally in my own capacity working on and so forth, but we'll get there. So let's start from the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about what's the symposium about? And we'll take it from there.
Sure, yeah. So I think just to start top of the line, as you've mentioned, on the 12th of September, it is a Thursday. We're having the Creative and Cultural Industries Creative Web Symposium. And the symposium for us is really a platform to take dialogue out of the strictly theoretical and into the practical, but obviously negating the role that research and policy plays in all of this. So we have really wonderful partnerships with the Swiss Hotel School South Africa and University of Johannesburg's College of Business and Economics. And through this relationship, we've been having a look at how hospitality, tourism, arts and culture all kind of intersect to create a really fantastic value proposition that is mutually beneficial for these different sectors. So that seems like an obvious point to most people, but the pathway to connecting these in tangible economic ways is not as clear, and the modalities for it doesn't exist for various reasons. So the conference will really be unpacking what these relationships could look like from professional perspectives, what the research could and should look like around creating policy and methodologies to work and to study what's going on here. And then also to fill the day with arts and culture, because we often talk about it in these abstract contexts. So it's not strictly an academic conference, but to infuse it with music and fashion and art and craft products and artists themselves being present and a part of the conversation. So that's kind of a broad overview of the Creative Web Symposium.
Okay, cool, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, as I said, like a few. I also read that you guys got a lot of. There's also a lot of stuff around food. I think that's also interesting. That's also. I've always found that when you have any form of creative, in this case symposium, it's always a good idea to incorporate everything that's to do with our senses, so sight, touch, smell. So you can hear the music, you can see the art, you can taste the food. I think that just creates a different. Well, it's just beautiful. I personally, I just like that. Yeah, man. Before we get into, I know you guys got a bunch of partners. which I want to get into. And there's also those four key elements or themes that you guys are talking about, and I want to get into that too. But I guess just before I get to that, just for the guys that don't know, that's new to this channel or was going to be new to this, to what you guys are doing, just explain to us what exactly does the Arts and Culture Trust do, in basic terms.
Cool. Thanks, Wesley. Yeah, Arts and Culture Trust, just to start with, is also turning 30 this year in
Yeah,
30
yeah, yeah,
years
yeah.
of democracy.
Yeah,
So, I mean, yeah, we've done quite a range of things over the last 30 years. I think just for some context is that
yeah,
we were started as a kind of conceptual baby between Dr. Ivan May from Nedbank and Tata Madiba, who really saw that art and culture would need some guidance, space, and protection as we transition into democracy. Also because Arts and Culture Trust was formed before the National Arts Council and before BASA, and is a fully non-governmental, non-profit organization. So initially, we were a lot involved in advisory and policy. We then branched out into facilitating arts administration training, scholarships and bursaries, and also very much playing in the grant making space, similar to what the NAC still does.
cool.
But now entering into our kind of 30th year and our strategy having built up to now is that we've stepped out of grant making as a practice, and we have fully immersed ourselves in entrepreneurial development. We're still doing scholarships, but it's now got training components to it and professional and personal development, which it didn't before. And we're also making very bold statements about the role of technology for the artist and
Yeah.
how do we position us to benefit and really leverage these as opposed to always being reactive and catching up.
For sure, man. Actually, I wanna quiz you that more on the technology side, but I think we'll do it more towards the end of the thingy. Because we are living in a world of AI, and that's something I discuss frequently on this channel, because it's a real deal to artists, and it's making things a bit complicated. And I'd like to get to know what you guys think doing about that. But anyway, I said we'll get to that. So yeah, man, can we just start off? I know you guys got a bunch. You mentioned that the Swiss Hotel is part of your one of your partners. Can you tell us who else are you guys partnered with? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, specifically for the conference, as I've mentioned, it's Arts and Culture Trust, Swiss Hotel School South Africa, and University of Johannesburg's College of Business and Economics. But in terms of our speakers and people we're involving, it's quite a wide range of professionals across the board. And we play quite a lot with other partners. I think that we've really opened ourselves up to in the sector. So coming on board as well are organizations like the South African Creative Industries Incubator, also known as SAKI. There's the Craft Design Institute, Andani Africa. Just from the arts and culture side, also Maria Paula McGurk, who's one of our board members and a visual artist that's obviously still practicing.
Yeah, I know.
From Swiss
I know.
Hotel School side as well. Oh, you know her. Great.
Yeah, Maria Paula. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, she does a lot of really fantastic and
Yeah.
provocative work.
She does.
Yeah. And then, I mean, obviously from the hotel side, we're bringing on hotel and hospitality executives. And I think this is what makes the conference setup or the symposium setup so much different, is that we're actually putting enablers and decision makers in the conversation space. So Swiss Hotel School really leaning into their hotel exec database, and also Santon Tourism. We'll also have tourism representatives present at the conference and people from Brand South Africa. Our artists as well will be participating in this. So we've got artists from the ACT Alumni Group and Connected Networks. And then from the academic side as well, as I've mentioned, that is an important aspect of what we do is, Dr. Frederick Christen, who's part of the economics department, Professor Rieta Steyn, who's at the University of Pretoria. So really leaning into kind of high-ranking academic expertise, but people that are very much vested in how does academia translate into a practical footprint, so that we're not just producing papers for shelves that never get accessed.
Yeah. I kind of, in reading through what you guys are doing, I kind of got that just that you're looking for practicals. Sorry. that you're looking for something practical. And moving in from there, can you tell us exactly what will be happening over the few days? How will the symposium be working, and the different events and so forth?
Sure, absolutely. So for this year, it's a 1 day symposium. We've concentrated it because we also have a range of other events for the 30th celebration
Yeah, yeah,
that are
tell us
kind of
about that as well.
condensing around September and October. But we'll basically be doing a group session in the morning with different panel discussions and opportunities for engagement and question and answer. We'll break for a lunch that will be prepared by the students from the Swiss Hotel School. So also giving them an opportunity to showcase their skills in that beautiful restaurant on Bond Street that they have, that is open to the public at times. In the afternoon, we'll be doing more breakaway and practical sessions, digesting the morning and looking at kind of tangible pathways, because we're obviously not thinking to solve everything in 1 day or one afternoon.
Yeah,
And towards the end of the day, we conclude with a night market. And we've done it this way because when you try and infuse the arts completely in the day, people don't have a chance to interact with the artists themselves or talk about the products and actually just hang out and have fun. So the night market is really that experience. It'll be open to our conference goers, but it'll also be extended to the public. So really just to generate a bit of vibe, audience, and give artists a chance to speak about the work that they do and the products that they make. So the format is day night, and people will also be able to buy tickets to attend an on live stream should
yeah,
they not be able to make it in person, or they're sitting in other parts of the country or the globe.
yeah. Fantastic. I was actually going to ask, like, how else do people take part in it? Just the online platform, will that be off Zoom as well?
That will be off Zoom. That's correct. And then tickets will be available on Quicket for that. We've made it really super affordable because, we don't want to create
Yeah,
barriers to entry for this. So really just around achievability. In person is quite limited, just because of the setup of the hotel school. We can accommodate about 90 conference goer guests. Um, uh, that tickets, yeah, first come, first serve, obviously with tickets, but then
sure.
obviously that extends the offering for online streaming.
Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, man. Thanks for that. I also noticed that you guys got four main themes that you want to discuss. One of them being also technology, which I want to actually pick your brain about. Can you just take us through what are those themes and what do you kind of want out of it, or what is hoping to get out of it, out of all the discussions?
Sure. So I'm going to just list the themes and then we can chat a bit
Sure.
about them.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're talking about innovation in arts and culture policies and practices. So this is just the exploration of policies, of technological platforms, and also obviously 4IR tools to support and generate opportunities for creatives. The second stream is the commercialization of research. And this is really where the expertise of the UJ Business College of Economics comes into play, is how do we look at research as lucrative opportunities? And the research is obviously touching on multiple streams, including the role of the artist in the economy. So really developing methodologies and kind of practical applications for the commercialization of research.
Sure.
And I think we've seen that trend really picking up over the last 10 years, especially. I mean, the work that Seiko's been doing has really given us a base to work from. And then there are a bunch of new research organizations that are really doing incredible work, not just in South Africa, but in Southern Africa and beyond. For example, Andani Africa, led by Lonwabo Mavuso and his superhuman researchers. And we're really starting to see now the potential of what this research means, and how it's impacting policy in a much more aggressive and focused way. The third stream is sustainable financing and commercial business models. At Arts and Culture Trust, the word funding for us has become a bit layered and dense with a lot of emotion. And we
Yeah.
really want to focus on rather future planning, wealth building, sustainability models. So we prefer the word finance because funding really should only be the tiniest percentage of your business plan or financial plan. So looking at what are some of the models that could create sustainability for our businesses, how do they scale? Are they able to become commercial? Are certain aspects able to be industrialized? Because I think one thing that would be a barrier to entry is that we know handcrafted products or a lot of the products produced in our country can be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So the hoteliers, for example, would rather buy wholesale products from China or Indonesia as a cost-saving activity, and our artists just can't meet those prices. So what are the kinds of interventions, conversations that we look at, and how do we justify the value proposition to make this a possible activity or avenue? So I think that's going to be very interesting. And then the building of networks and collaborations. So how do we bring together these cross-disciplinary or cross-industry streams? How do we bring together the enablers, the thinkers, the researchers, the decision makers to then say, okay, let's pilot something from this. Let's see where we align, what are low-hanging fruits, and what kind of agendas can we set up to deepen these conversations to create meaningful economic collaborations in this kind of like industry activity. So
For
those
sure.
are basically the 4 streams. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for that, man. And you were quite concise, and you explained it pretty well. I understand what you were saying. I'm sure my listeners will too. As I said earlier on, there's something I want to actually not really pick your brain, but I want to get your views on it. Is the rise of AI? Are you guys addressing it? That's the first question, and the other one would be like a double-edged question thingy. Is there any form of policy around that? Because on this platform, I've been talking about AI in the arts consistently, actually throughout the year and most of last year as well, or as soon as ChatGPT was launched. And the one thing that I've noticed is that artists are actually quite concerned about it, especially the guy that's doing portraits, for example. I mean, AI gets like over a billion prompts a day, which is substantial. And it's also I mean, well, I'm not going to explain to you what else it can do. I'm sure you're aware of that. But it's there's I mean, if you look at social media, I mean, even today in 2024, there's still very little regulation around social media about disinformation and so forth. You can look at what's happening in the UK, for example. The other question is there any form of I guess, are you guys looking to do any form of policy or lobby government to do something about it? And if so, is there something else that we as an artist can do, or other avenues we can or people we can talk to and so forth?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, obviously this is coming up a lot, and it's been coming up a lot, especially over the last 4 years that we've seen these exponential breakthroughs, and also the ease of access to very sophisticated technologies that we would have had to spend hundreds of thousands of rands for before. In my view, and I'm not speaking holistically for the sector,
Yeah, man.
obviously there needs to be some form of regulation, but the way that policy works and the time that it takes to construct policy and get it passed will never be able to keep up with the exponential growth and offshoots of AI in a way that will, I believe, actually assist us in regulating it. There are so many new businesses, so many new ideas, possibilities that we're not even thinking about that then might not be encompassed by that policy once it's passed. So in my view, I think a proactive approach is necessary. I think education is necessary so that we start to understand what this thing is. The people that are doing the policy work, and yes, we're involved in certain conversations there, need to continue to do that. But I think firstly, education around what AI is, where it comes from, what it does, and it speaks to social as well, how it's controlled and what we are actually giving away for free needs to be more at the forefront. Because in a sense, we're already doing everything that's enabling AI through our social accounts.
Yeah.
AI can only produce what it's being fed, and the biggest, obviously, AI that we're aware of sits in the US. And we see this in the bias also that it produces. So AI is not Africa-centric. And I think in that there's a value that we can then still harness and take advantage of. So education, training, and pioneering, I think, to not sit behind the fear and be paralyzed, but to actually throw ourselves in there and take control of what we put in and what we get out, to start playing actively rather than reactively.
Yeah. I definitely agree. We should, to react doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help, especially in this post-COVID world. It doesn't help. Like I'm talking, I actually want to talk more and more about it because there's so many things about it.
Yeah,
I just
the
think
whole
it's
day.
such a huge thing. It's such a huge thing. And as I said, I'm talking every week to artists, not necessarily just about that, but I'm always quizzing them about what's their take on it. And it's a big thing. It's major. And as soon as artists start to learn more or understand more, you say if they educate yourself more, then they actually get it's actually quite abstract. But yeah, I think we'll leave that for another time. Jessica, can you just tell us to my views, my views, to my listeners, in terms of ticket sales and so forth, where can they get where can they buy tickets, and where can they get more information about the symposium?
Sure, absolutely. So we've got a Quicket page that we're running, and people can just search the CCI Creative Web Symposium. That should pop up. As I've mentioned, tickets are $50. We also do have an event page that's linked to our Facebook account for Arts and Culture Trust, which one can find at Arts and Culture Trust, or on Instagram at ActOrgZA. And we will, the updates also on our website, which is www.act.org.za, under the programs banner that says ACRU. And ACRU is our Arts and Culture Research Unit that participates with different collaborators to form research in these areas. So I definitely think there's spaces to check out more, and also contact information to get in touch with us should there be additional questions. But yeah, looking forward to this one. It's always a lovely engagement.
It does. It definitely sound like a full day, and really engaging on all those levels that you say: food, music, art, and so forth, and academia. It sounds like a really full day. Just two more quick questions in closing. The online platform, is that the same price as going through the door? So if you want to go via Zoom.
Yes, it is the same price. And yeah, like I said, we've kept it as low as possible. Obviously, we need to pay for these streams, so it's just taking care of the basics. So price is
No, I get it. I get it. No, I totally get it. As I said, man, like I'm really invested in this, in harboring conversations around how artists are using technology. For example, like even like social media, like Instagram. I know of quite a few artists that is working outside of art galleries and so forth, that's making a living for years just of those platforms. And I think it's fascinating how these guys are using, and all of these tools are free. And now all of a sudden we have AI coming on board, and it has shaken, shaken and shook everything up to its core.
No,
And now
absolutely.
it's like, oh shit, now what? So I think
Mm.
these conversations are fascinating. It's fascinating. Um, Ahmed, I think I'm pretty much covered here, man. Is anything else you felt you still want to mention?
Yeah, I think just for interest sake
Yeah,
and for visibility sake, just to close off the point on AI and our approach to it, is that we have
yeah,
started incorporating it into our training programs, with our scholarship program, with our entrepreneurial program, looking at the kinds of tools available to enable artists to become players in the metaverse and monetize themselves. So I think that that's a very bold step forward. And to say that we are also really actively engaging with these technologies. So just before the 12th of September, on the 7th of September, we're hosting Africa's first mixed reality music festival.
already.
It's called The Road to Amapiano. And it basically tracks the last three decades of music and the global influences of our music, building up to this craze that is now Amapiano. And we're bringing in a virtual audience in real time. We have a digital twin of the now World Heritage Site, the old fort at Cornhill. So we'll be creating really immersive experiences for live and virtual audiences to come and consume this 10-hour narrative of 30 years of South African music. The lineups just dropped today, so tickets are available for that online in virtual reality or in person at Cornhill. So that's a big one in terms of just how we are bringing technology back into the conversation and giving people the opportunity to start engaging with it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's, yeah, I love that. I love that. That's really cool. And you say that's on the
7th of September.
7th. The 7th, 7th of
September.
September. Okay. Okay, man. I'll make a note of that and I'll add all the other details in the description uh, below the video, and all the other various links and so forth. Including everything really. But this is really cool. Jessica, this is really concise and to the point. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to talk a bit further about technology and all the other things and the stuff that all my listeners have been talking about. But that we can do another time. And all the best for the event on the 12th of September. I'll be publishing this episode next week on the on the 29th. So I'll publish on the 29th around about 11 o'clock. But as soon as I do, I'll send you the link. And yeah, if you want, yeah, you can send a photo. I'll do my best to add it. I'll do my best.
Yeah,
and then,
about that.
But yeah, man, thanks for coming through. It's still nice and early in South Africa. So, and to my listeners, if you guys got any value out of this content, smash that like and subscribe button. There's a lot of cool stuff on this channel to do with the arts based in South Africa, and a lot of cool stuff around music, poetry, because I love poetry and so forth and so forth. Jessica, enjoy the rest of your day, and all the best for the events on the 12th, on the 11th, on the 12th, on the 12th, on the 12th, on the 12th, on the 12th.
On the 12th and on the 7th, we've got our hands full over the next while.
Yeah. So it's actually 2 or 3 weeks of a lot of work. I know that that there's a lot of work goes into these events. So I know you guys are pretty busy, but thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much, Wesley. And yeah, hit me up for any other conversations. Cool.
All right, man. I will. All right, man. Thanks, man. Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.